Hi everyone, this is one of a couple of video lectures I hope to prepare this week in my absence since I can't lecture in person. This week's module is to focus on the setting of type. In any context, I can't really say that this lecture applies only to presentation design. But I have to tell you that typesetting is near and dear to my heart because, first of all, spending so many years in publication production and seeing bad typography and just thinking long and hard and recognizing when a page is laid out in such a way that it's hard to penetrate in terms of understanding. Very important to me and probably to all of us. We just don't know that it is, and we might take it for granted. So this lecture is going to start introducing us to some fundamentals of typography, some of which you may already be aware of, but I hope to organize it into a sort of succinct content so that you can enter with ease into this realm of design. Okay, so typography, we're going to start out. Typography is the art of setting type. As you can see here on the slide, it is derived from the Greek words for writing and form, typos and grapho. In combination, that word has evolved. Okay, so I'm trying to go down here. Now, let's see. All right, that's better. Wrong application. Okay, so what we can call it, the art and technique of selecting and arranging type styles, point sizes, line lengths, line leading, character spacing, and word spacing for typeset applications. These applications can be physical or digital, meaning print or electronic. The two primary functions of typography are the presentation of text in a manner that is easy to read and in a way that is visually engaging. And it all starts here. Believe it or not, we go back to the earliest forms of written communication. In the 1400s, when it came to publishing, there were scribes, and scribes were these men cloistered away that would create pages by hand, and they were magnificent. The scribes created the pages by hand, and then those pages were carved into wooden blocks, basically like stamps. And then those stamps would be used to create a page. And one book could take months to produce. And each document ended up being unique and different and having special attributes, which is actually kind of cool in this day of automation when you think about it. But can you imagine taking months to create a single book? Then along came Johannes Gutenberg. I would like to say he is the father of Western mass communication. So he lived in the 1500s, and he invented what's called movable type printing presses. And those printing presses facilitated mass production of the printed Bible. So it was actually scribes that were hidden in Ireland, I believe, that were creating the Bible. And some would say, there's a book called How the Irish Saved Civilization as a result of scribing these stories away. And because of the technology of being able to print, many say that those advancements helped spread ideas, the creative ideas of the Renaissance, when there was this explosion of creativity, artists, musicians, etc. And so for that reason, he's considered to be the father of Western mass communication. So here is a picture from the Gutenberg Bible. And it's essentially, this was the first thing that was actually printed, or one of the first things actually printed in the Bible that he first created, sort of his seminal work as a printer, believe it or not. And all the attributes on the page, not just the type, the font, etc. that was used, but including the aspect ratio of the page and the margins in relation to the page. Play a huge role even today. Okay, so movable type printing is this press-based system of printing where you have these movable individual letters that some lucky guy has to put together in a composing stick to create the story backwards. I guess the phrase "out of sorts," like I'm out of sorts. actually has been said to be derived from not having someone who's competent in doing this very technical feat. It's not a very dignified job, and it's very tedious. So here's someone that is actually demonstrating what it might be like to use that. And you can see everything is backward. Pay close attention to the baseline. The baseline is the line upon which the flat-bottomed lettered falls, not the round ones. So these little stands upon, that's what we consider the baseline of the text. All right, and then this, notice that how there's this gap here. Well, this is what is considered, creates the natural space between lines of text. And you can expand that, or, well, not shrink it past that, but you can shrink it or expand it based upon leading. You're going to hear about leading if you use InDesign and Illustrator, and leading is the space between rows of type in a paragraph. Not between paragraphs, but actually between rows of sentences in a single paragraph, and it comes from the fact that they actually used to put pieces of lead between these rows of type to create space. So when we talk about Gutenberg, and why I'm bringing Gutenberg up, this ancient soul, is because so much of what we do when it comes to typesetting stems back from the things that were established when he created the first printing press. And those principles informed our physical paper presses and our pre-technology printing, as well as even in the digital world. We've carried over these ideas and metaphors about printing going back to the 1400s. X-height, serif, kerning, bounding box, leading, as discussed. We'll get into this. Okay. So what is a typeface? Now, it's interesting because Microsoft really kind of sort of conflated these ideas. Historically, typeface was used to refer to the entire collection of letters of a particular style in any size, including letters, numbers, punctuation, and symbols. So when we talk about a typeface like Times New Roman or Tecton or Myriad Pro, it means the whole series, including everything that we don't always use. That is a typeface. But a font historically meant the particular style and size of that typeface that you were using. So a font would be 30-point Stone Sans semi-bold, right? Maybe with an underline. Because you would have to tell your sorter to go and pull the exact type size and in the typeface desired out of a box. So that would be the font. It actually had a physical presence. So think of that. But what you can know is most people use these terms synonymously, which can be very sort of agitating if you're a design professional and you know the difference. But you should be aware of these distinctions. So there are attributes of fonts that you'll want to be aware of. And these can be explained here, that there's serif and sans serif, script and display. I'm going to break to the next video now.